Revolta and all of the stuff that he's trying to do in terms of finding scrappiness in the jungle and get those early game fights going, and maybe we want to see that sort of subside a little bit and focus more on the macro, more on the mechanical thinking side of how to play out League of Legends. But we'll have to wait and see. Of course, Revolta is sort of one of our mainstays of the CBLOL war, more veteran players. So if he's got that in the back locker, all of the pride and the experience to come through, should definitely be making for an interesting game.
Yeah, Renska, they might not have that experience, but they certainly got the spunk. Trigo, Froststrike have been looking nigh on unstoppable to me, and even House has shown these glimmers of being a very, very potent mid laner, but it's against the tried and true roster that INTZ have. These are all talented players that have been proven, and I highlighted Revolta. Cabu as well has stood out to me as yeah, I know, I'm a simp for Cabu.
We're big Cabu fanboys over here. That's not just you, it's me as well.
Okay,
Any Alistair player, I'm a big fan of.
This guy plays Alistair like nobody's business. You've got to ban Akali here, right? As Renska, are you letting Akali through the draft? I'm sorry, I'm looking
Seraphine? Akali? They're all up.
I'm trying to figure out what you're going to take away, because I was thinking about the Alistair. They end up opting for the Talia here. Akali up for the third time this season, and I expect this to be the third pick this season.
Yep, Akali, very strong champion, definitely worth picking up if anybody can get their hands on it here. The issue that we sort of have right now is that with Talia banned away but nearly open, that sort of dipole of two AP junglers that teams either like to trade or ban away, we have a bit of a mismatch. Also, Camille is open. Camille, incredibly broken champion. Hate Camille, get her out of the game. But no, personal opinions aside, Camille is incredibly strong and just factually an incredible top laner right now, so definitely worth the pickup. But Renska have just got their pick of the litter right here. We have Nidalee, we have Akali open, two incredibly strong champions, but do require a bit to pilot. Instead, we opt for the Graves, so sort of preempting maybe a Nidalee pick for INTZ, maybe trying to make it a little bit more difficult as they navigate the early game.
Yeah, maybe with the recent Akali nerfs, this isn't feeling as good. Although I'm really surprised to see her fall even to third pick here, maybe even fourth, as Misfortune is hovered and locked in for Trigo. What is happening?
Okay, so Trigo's just a big MF fanboy apparently. I don't know that Misfortune requires so much priority in the draft, especially when things like Aphelios, Samira, and Jhin are all open. Like there's a fair few AD carries that you can be picking from right there, and there's that nice assassin mid laner that we've talked about quite frequently still up on the table. NTZ as well, just opting into getting the Jhin. Something as well to note is that Galio is banned. One of the biggest counters to Akali in the mid lane being Galio is banned away. So the Akali pick is so free and so open right here for a few of these teams. We're just not seeing. TF as well.
I'm so lost right now. What is occurring? I do like, however, that Renska have really leaned into the cowboy aesthetic with the Graves Misfortune. You could have picked up the Jhin for yourself, gone the High Noon skin, but I respect sticking with the OG cowboys. Hecarim picked up Orianna, taken away. I mean, INTZ, they could just get a free Akali, given that they banned away the counter to it, and Renska have no interest in picking it.
I mean, the thing that we have to remember is that maybe the teams just don't want to pick Akali, right? And maybe they're not playing it because it gets banned in scrims, it gets banned in pro play, it just gets banned everywhere. That maybe House and Envy aren't feeling too comfortable on it. There's always that chance that is an issue, but they have a second round of bans right here, and if this isn't Akali coming through, then we may see it picked up. However, we do have a mismatch in the bans right now, or at least in the picks. So you can see INTZ, they've got themselves top jungle and ADC, whereas Renska have got mid, jungle, and ADC. So typically, you would see a pinching of the pools, and you can see it from Renska that they're banning away mid laners. INTZ, however, banning away Set, yes, could be classed as a top laner, but more typically, we see him in the support role and funneling into what looks to be already a very strong team fighting composition for Renska.
Yeah, you don't want to give them any extra tools to start those fights off, but speaking of that, you're going to need them. Akali, how? How did you get here, Akali? How far the mighty have fallen? But let's bring it back. Renska, they need a go button.
They do. They need to try and find something to enable their engages. And on the top side, They've got obviously a fair few options still open and available. Nala, I know a lot of teams have been really happy with. Not quite a matchup in the top side against Camille, but GP as well. Okay, I quite like this into the Camille. It's, obviously not the best, but early on GP, I think that there's a bit of a well, I don't know what the word that I want to use is, a bit of a mask, a bit of a missed preconception about GP's laning phase, in that it's not too great and that it's pretty easy to exploit. But GP with grasp and Qs, pretty difficult to deal with for most top laners, and Camille has got that adaptive shield that does help out. But that's not up as nearly as often as GP with grasp is Q is. But we see something a little bit different locked in for the mid lane right here. Rye's going to be picked up for Envy, something to really pump out the magic damage.
I said that I was excited for this game, given how scrappy I thought it was going to be. At this point, the scrap is going to be coupled with an incredible amount of unknowns hitting the Rift. For the first time in CBLOL 2021, there's got to be some sort of engaged tank support. You don't have Leona right now, but
Nautilus.
Nautilus?
Rel.
Yeah. I would take a Nautilus over a Rel right now, because Rel is, I feel like she's almost soft engage. You know what I'm saying? Or she needs somebody else, and there's nobody else.
Nautilus. Yeah, it makes sense here that they lock this one in. Going to be up against the Jhin Leona bot lane. Both of these bot laners, just supports dictate so much in the laning phase, and you can see that with Trigo going to be piloting the Misfortune, we expect Renska to have a slightly better bot lane, but obviously if Kabu's finding these insane Zenith Blades, there's always a world where the Jhin follow-up can come through. Both of these supports stronger than the ADCs in the early game. Leona is going to absolutely 1v1 the Misfortune, and Nautilus going to dominate Jhin in the early game, but as we get a bit later on into the game, of course, that does start to subside. Just a couple of items. The first recall, typically enough to set ADCs up for success up against these counterparts, but looking at these compositions, early game going to be a lot more reliant for Renska here. Misfortune, one of those champions that, yes, now with the new item builds, does scale into the late game fairly reasonably, but not nearly as well as Jhin. Doesn't quite offer the same utility, the same damage either, just doesn't come out. So if Renska are looking to dominate, they're looking to do it in the early game.
Yeah, and I'm actually a little bit hesitant to see how the early laning phase goes, because you mentioned that it is more about the support matchups in the early levels. Kabu is somebody that we highlighted, and you're going into a Misfortune that is a pretty even matchup into Jhin, at least early on. And like you say, we've got those late game transitions that keep them at relatively similar power levels. I favor Jhin a little bit, I'll admit it. I show a little bit of bias, but you're coupled with Kabu, and that is something that I don't want to undervalue right now.
We don't want to undervalue the power that Kabu has in the game, and quite rightly, we shouldn't be. A very potent support, and if anybody is going to be finding those engages, it is going to be Kabu here. He's, the typical trends of Alistar players is that they like to go in, they like to find fights, and they like to find themselves their engages, and Leona as well, no slouch at trying to pick up those, so we will have to, of course, wait for the mid game, wait for these Drakes, wait for these fights to come on through, but definitely expecting a bit of a powerhouse in terms of engaging from Kabu.
Renska don't seem to expect that nearly as much, though. Tier start from Trigo with the comment, wants to keep his distance, doesn't want to give Kabu the chance here, and fan votes come in, and ITZ looking a little bit favored.
Yeah, of course, they are going to have a few more of those fans that, Renska unfortunately just lacking right now, but
they're getting them.
Yeah, they are, and if they take down ITZ here, they might lose a couple just because of the mainstay of the CBLOL, but they're definitely going to be winning the fans' hearts in terms of being those sort of underdogs, at least coming into the split at the very least, with these sort of newer players coming up for Renska. We'll have to see if this is going to be one of their proving grounds. Up against a 0-3 squad to begin with, they should be looking to take a victory and start putting a bit of a buffer between themselves and ITZ and maybe the rest of the lower half of the packs right here. So early on, it's pretty difficult to point it out, but we are hoping that, of course, we get a nice and decent early game.
Now, there was a concern raised yesterday during the matches where Renska had a really, really nice early and mid game against Kaboom, but struggled to actually close the game. And I could see a world like that one more time right now because they don't have a whole lot of hard engage tools. It is all on the back of Clion. And if you don't have that many tools to begin with, if you are already a team that does struggle to close out games that you're doing well in, it's going to be a tough one.
100% agreed. Here comes that engage that we talked about.
Cabu not being undervalued in the bot lane. Mikau getting a lot of space to put down the autos, but it does end up as a more or less even trade.
Yeah, so the important things with bot lane trades are waiting on cooldown. So Misfortune in the early game, her trades revolve around the Arcane Comet and the Make It Rain poke, as opposed to Jin and Leona, who are trying to look more to use their auto attacks, the more frequent Dancing Grenade.
Oh, very nice.
Good
Level
dash.
2s are hit, but Clion gets out of there with the dredge line. That was a little bit of a sticky spot, and if Trigo was there, certainly dead right now. Has the flash and cleanse available, but might not even be enough.
Up against the Leona, the cleanse just has to come through. There's no doubt in anyone's mind that when you're playing against Leona, you take cleanse. Rise as well, going to have that flash W capability, the root on a point and click, definitely something that most people are going to be afraid of. And you can see that House as well in the mid lane is rocking that cleanse. So the TP pressure in the mid lane could be quite a force to contend with as we do continue throughout the game, and we might see some mid lane fights really dictate how this teleport advantage is going to play out. Because if you have that TP advantage, you do tend to be able to cheat yourself a recall, get yourself a good base. And for House on the other side, it's going to be really difficult for him to find an opening to get a recall without getting put behind.
Yeah, he's going to rely a little bit on Frost Strike, and that's where I really like Graves here. Envy does spot him out, actually forces him to use the Smite on the Scuttle, so very nicely done there, at least getting a small little bit of resource out of him, but it also means that Frost Strike is spotted on the bottom side of the map. Kiari is going to be sandwiched in here, has the flash available, and is going to need to use it under the tower right here, goes under back to his safety, and Revolta gets a free summoner.
Yeah, really nice little gank on the top side. Was fully cleared. His jungle likely to try and set up a recall right now. Although this wave pushing, you're quite right. Kiari is in an absolutely dire position right here. This is going to be so bad for him. Bowl is just going to be able to freeze it permanently, and Kiari is just so low on HP that he cannot do anything. Revolta's still hanging around. They have no flash, remember, on GP.
Yeah, pops the ghost, and Bowl uses his flash as well. Yep. That's them first blood in the top lane, and the wave is still like this.
Don't push it. Don't push it. Just let it go. Just leave it as it is.
He's letting it go. He's letting it go.
Deny this GP as much as possible. This is going to be so awful now for Renska. The jungle priority on the top side of the map, you saw that they were sort of mirroring one another in terms of going from Graves going top to bot. Hurricane went from bot to top. And the priority on the bot side netted Renska a cloud, netted them a scuttle crab. On the top side, it's netted Kiari a death, and Bowl an insane wave state.
Yeah, you are definitely going to take this as INTZ, who coming into this game were a little bit. Oh yeah, you're right. Very nice ward. Going to spot out Clion on the roam. Cabu, interestingly, was already on the roam. Had shown up in mid lane at least once, so staying true to his name.
Yeah, and so okay, a few things right here that Envy has been constantly pushing in mid lane. And finding advantages. So we saw him once push mid lane, forces the smite out of Frost Strike, pushes that wave in mid lane, actually gets a really deep ward on the Graves' Raptors, so they have all the information that they could need to try and spot out where the jungler is. They also managed to get the double value of spotting out Cabu's roam or Clion's roam as well. So just everything really from this mid lane really coming up huge for Envy in the early game. He's doing so much work to keep himself alive, keep himself going. And also he's based TP'd back in with those Lucidity boots, with the advantage, with the extra tempo that INTZ have, now going to net themselves the Mountain Dragon uncontested.
And as much as I was talking about clean early games from Renska yesterday, it looks like today is the day of INTZ as they find themselves a very, very clean, not only first blood, but first dragon as well.
This first 6 minutes has been pretty crystal clear from INTZ so far. They've done so well to just net themselves advantages across the board. Revolta, though.
Yeah, this could be a change in that as House flashes forward, cleans up that kill, and now has Frost Strike in his pocket as well. Envy has his own flash, shouldn't need to use it under the tower and does get away, but that's the first crack in the glass.
He was trying to help him push the wave, but the Rise doesn't need help pushing the wave. He just needs 2 seconds. to get his cooldowns back up, and then he's fine. I'm not sure what was going on right there. Revolta as well with no flash, just cannot get away, and now this is going to snowball into bot prio as well. We're likely to get a dive through on here. Trigo going to push this wave fairly quickly. Frost Strike going to open up.
Nicely done with the ultimate to try and start that off, but Revolta has respawned, it has arrived, and does dissuade that impending dive that you were talking about.
Yeah, Clyon aiming for Evelyn there with that dredge line, but he's okay. Able to not dive, and Mikau actually able to keep himself alive and not fall underneath the turret. This is going to be that replay of the mid lane. Look at Envy, right? He clears the wave so quickly here, and Revolta, I just don't quite understand why he needed to help push in the wave. And How's actually here, had the fancy feet, dodged both of the Qs from the Rise as well. Really keeping himself nice and topped off in that HP department meant that he could stay in the lane and really punish that overextension from Revolta.
Yeah, I really like that House went full on aggressive there. Neither Revolta nor Envy were expecting it at all, and nets himself a kill. And Orianna, with these early bits of kills, can propel yourself to an explosive mid game where Shockwave normally has to wait a little while to scale up.
Yeah, and obviously with the level lead that House had, that was really the key feature that set up the success for House. But, you know, finally, we are starting to see a little bit of a clap back from this Renska squad. We were hoping that they'd be doing a bit more in the early game, maybe using their misfortune priority to their advantage. But Jin as well, no slouch. But here comes Kabu. Just steps out the brush, actually, and House more than aware of his positioning. The second you take a step out that brush, you do get spotted out.
I really dislike having Hex Flash in my games because even though Kabu was nowhere near House and he had plenty of time to react, the fact that you see a flash go off on your screen really, really scares me. Like, it shakes me to my core.
It's always intimidating, you know. That's why sometimes I love doing this on Malphite as well, where you don't even have ulti, you just flash in place or flash in front of people and watch them flash without you using your ulti. It's the biggest game of chicken ever. Ooh. Okay,
yeah, it's very, very scary. Mikau actually needing to be scared in his own right in this bot side after a very small chunk from Trigo still puts him in that range where they could dive him, and he's going to miss a big wave onto the tower right now.
Yeah, just looking to try and get the XP if he can as well. And now Kabu's here. Should be fine to pick up that one. Trigo splits another plate once again, so getting even more gold. And looking at the plating gold across the board, you can see that mid lane, there's a plate for House. Bot lane, there's been 3 for the MF Nautilus lane. So whilst we can see that there's a slight CS lead for the Camille, and yes, he's only against GP, but the plating gold across the rest of the map really stabilizing and putting us at a very even gold game right now.
Yeah, this is surprisingly even, with really the Mountain Drake being the difference maker. ITZ looking to rectify that, though, are roaming up to the top side.
No.
They're going to be spotted on this ward, but Realm Works is going to be stopped by nothing. Kiari is eating a lot of damage right now, and Bull has plenty of HP to tank that turret.
Okay, so the good thing for Renska is that Kiari farmed the majority of the wave. The bad thing is he's going to miss another one, and Bol got... actually, it's Envy that gets the kill. Bol got another assist. Bol's going to farm away some plates as well. Might even be able to get a second here if he's feeling nice and greedy for it, which he is. So he's actually going to get a kill's worth of gold from the plates in his own right. Whereas House in the mid lane, not going to get anything in response. Really nice stuff as well to pick that one up. Good from Frost Strike to try and find some pressure down on the bot side with all of the resources used top lane. But you can see that it's just not matching up right now. The gold leaders... actually gone in Renska's favour, so ignore me entirely because House have just...
I was just thinking.
Renska have just walked around and farmed up everything else, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's the plates that are really keeping them in the game. The fact that all 4 are... Sorry, the fact that all 4 are gone and that Trigo has walked away with the majority of those, it might not be where I was expecting the carry to come from, but now Renska almost need the carry to be coming from that lane.
They do, and this is what we're hoping for, at least with a misfortune in the bot lane, that you might establish some early game priority, and that is what those 4 plates down in the bot lane do entail. Also, Clyon has just been, I suppose, in lane a little bit more. You can see that Carbu's level 5 has opted into a more roam-heavy style, which is obviously what Carbu is sort of getting a bit notorious for. But with Clyon down in the bot lane, more often than not, the Jin going to be set a little bit behind.
I have a genuine question for you after this. Is How's very nice flash keeps him nice and safe? Do you think Kabu just queues for mid lane?
Why am I getting auto-filled so often, man? Come on, like... Guys, Riot, your broken system. I keep queuing mid lane and I keep getting support, and the only way I can think to figure it out is just to continue going mid lane.
I can only imagine that's exactly what's happening, as Revolta appears to have queued for top lane. Chiari forced to flash away, but Bull's not quite done with him yet. The Hextech ultimatum locks him in place, and Bull just takes him down. Revolta barely picking up an assist.
Ah, Camille. Woo! Great champ. It just dashes on my screen. It was really well played from ITZ right there. It actually was. I'm going to keep moaning about Camille until she gets nerfed and until the champion is removed from League of Legends, which is never going to happen. But it was incredibly well played. They used the E fully extended out, get that Hextech ultimatum in, and I liked it from Revolta that he didn't back away, and it was probably more Ball saying, "Hey, I got this. I can still kill this guy." And then they go in, they find the pressure, put down the damage, and they're going to net themselves not one but two turrets as well, with the plates up as well. INTZ have just taken a massive lead in this, Camille.
Really big for Rensga. I wonder if they are going to be able to use this, because Chiari being on the map is not the same as any other top laner.
No.
And I don't mean that in like a flamey way that he's behind, although it does sound like that, but Gangplank is one of those people that can permafreeze in top lane and still have relative impact.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if they choose to use that.
They're going to have to. GP is a walking health bar with Cannon Barrage right now.
Yeah.
He's going to be walking around pumping out very minimal damage if he's actually in the team fights, because he's just so far behind. And I want to point out that we talked about Renska firing a majority of their resources down into the bot lane and how far ahead Trigo is ahead of the Jhin. But I'll tell you for right now, you're playing topside versus botside. Camille versus Misfortune is a very one-sided matchup here. And even with Nautilus, even with Graves nearby, the Camille is just going to hop on your Misfortune, auto her 3 times, put the ult down, and kill her. Like, and it's not even close. And Misfortune has no response.
It's not even like that's the only person either. Remember, we got a Hecarim. She has dive buddies, and those people are going to be literally feared. I'm not talking about the fact they're going to be afraid. Anybody who's trying to peel for Misfortune is going to be afflicted by a status effect that keeps you from defending your Misfortune.
And as if that wasn't bad enough, right here, Kabu has 4 seconds of CC just in his kit passively. So if Trigo wasn't fearing for his life enough from the Hecarim, definitely going to be stunned at the prospect of having to face up against Leona as well.
Let's see how that plays out around this next dragon. We've got about 2 minutes 50 seconds till then. And
Dia, do you want to know how it plays out? They don't do anything.
I definitely want to know. Right now, we're going to see how this plays out, as Revolta has found House, but there's a Realm Warp that brings Envy right to his face. Also, once again, keeping INTZ with the barely picking up an assist way of playing.
Revolta doing his darnest here to keep the team snowball going, and with more plays like that, they will definitely be able to get away with it. You can see right here, this is the plating distribution between the teams, and it was looking fairly Renska sided until, of course, that Herald went up onto the top lane, and also Camille there in the end was actually able to farm, I believe, a couple up off of that bot side. Looks like 3 plates will have gone down in the bot lane as well. So the Camille just getting catapulted ahead of the curve right now is going to be incredibly dangerous for Renska.
I cannot wait to see the gold graphs after this game, or the player gold breakdown specifically. Bull was not a top laner that until today had really stood apart from the pack, mainly due to the way that INTZ have been performing. And I'm happy to see that the investment right now is paying off. It seems like at least Revolta and Bull have found something that they can work with, and you see that reflected in that early vision that you called out. This is not a just two players making a play happen. This is a full team effort to make a win condition appear early on in the season.
Ooh, okay, good flash from Macau. Dodges out. But yeah, you are quite right. They're using this weak side top, which actually, I talked about Chiari not being as great a laner, but the way, or not being great a laner, GP in itself being on a fairly decent laner, but the way that the early game played out, the way that Chiari's wave just got absolutely dunked on, and the way Ball managed to take the advantage from that and has swung it into just success across the board here, this could definitely put Renska at a pretty difficult position. They're only 2k gold down, but I feel like the majority of that gold lead is going to be in the top lane, and probably as well, like there's going to be a gold lead for Misfortune over the Jhin, and there's probably going to be a little bit of a one for the Graves, maybe not Graves over the Hecarim, but the difference really between Camille and GP is more than 2,000 is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it is quite a bit more. You do not have the rights to a top laner right now. You can see that reflected in the itemization with the Essence Reaver first. That is not some sort of meta build Korean thing. This is just you not having the ability to buy an item.
Well, Essence Reaver actually.
Yeah, am I wrong?
You're unfortunately, dear.
Unlucky.
It's exactly what you said it is. It's a
really?
Korean meta.
That's hilarious.
He's going to be building the Essence Reaver. We'll go probably Shield Bow next, actually, and that's the new quote GP build.
Huh.
I know that I've seen Tobias Fate obviously renowned for the GP, been building Essence Reaver first since the season reworks have come out, but we do have a dragon fight,
Let's
and Ren's
clench
go
our
for
butt
this. It's a bit
cheeks for this
aggressive.
dragon fight. Revolta, we're gonna get the 50-50 smite.
Oh, yep.
Revolta is the one that gets away with it. Now the fight ensues as we do get the Leona ult dropping, locking up one member, as Clyon now fleeing and locked in with INTZ should be the sacrificial lamb. TP into the back line though as Envy gets hooked up and almost taken down, burning down, and actually falls does the mid laner Chiari, trying to clean up Macau, who's been split from the team. Renska find their fight.
Okay. Right. Macau had an awkward team fight right there. It was a beautiful disengage from Renska, staying as 5, going back together, making it pretty difficult for the squad of INTZ to really push in and force their aggression. But Froststrike, he should just fall here.
May he rest
Maybe.
in peace, Bull. Oh my God!
Flash,
Actually lives.
that was
That was almost a 1-for-1.
Incredible stuff to salvage what was a pretty devastating situation. Chiari, though, picks up a kill and an assist, so this GP, who's been starved of gold for the most part, going to get himself a little bit more. Trigo looking for Revolta, but unfortunately, Misfortune's rocket jet's nowhere near the power of a pony.
No, I want like different. I want a horse skin for Misfortune.
Oh.
All right, but I'm gonna have to hold that horrific thought as Bull looking for a kill here is going to eat a shockwave, has the backup of Envy, who's looking for revenge off of that last team fight and will find it. Bull cleans up the kill, and that is a pick in the top side. 18 minutes right now. Death timers are pretty short, so it won't net you much other than a couple hundred gold.
Yeah, and it's nice, of course, for them to deny the gold turret, or the gold that the turret would have given onto the Orianna as well. They've used their teleport right there. Chiari TP'd into the Drake fight. Bold TP's in to get a kill up on the top side. So it's all relative, and the TPs are going to be up just a little bit later for Bold than it is for Chiari. But at the end of the day, if they just manage to stall out and manage to play to their teleports, there really shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, this should be salvageable for INTZ, and I even hesitate to use the word because they are in a pretty good spot right now, especially with the steal on the Infernal Drake, putting them at a soul point that is in closer touching distance than it would otherwise be, because soul is really, really nice for ending the game. Envy, however, getting caught would be a bit of a problem. With the phase rush, gets himself to relative safety, but has House closing in on him. Shockwave not yet available, but will pick him up with the command dissonance.
Oh, you're just getting a taster already of the power that Ryze has, and meanwhile on the bot side, Bol going to get this turret for free. This 1-3-1 for INTZ. It's a style that they've played to previously. I know in week 1 they went for something pretty similar. What they fell into the trap of was trying to take team fights and not playing to the 1-3-1. What I want them to do is stick in the side lanes, make sure that the Jhin is safe, make sure that the Leona and bot lane don't get caught out by a big collapse from Renska, and just continually fire off in the side lane. Envy can't really be dying like that. If you're executing 1-3-1 perfectly, then your side laners never die because you have good vision and they're all able to find out where enemies are and you don't typically get collapsed upon. But they do make the most of it and they net themselves a turret back on the other side, so it's not all doom and gloom in terms of just getting a kill onto the Ryze.
Nice turret around the Baron as well. Eliminates the last of the outers on the side of INTZ. Trying to find a pick of their own here are INTZ as Revolta goes for Trigo, gets knocked up once, and will have to bounce out of there. That is no ult on Clyon for the moment, but similarly Revolta being ultimate ability-less around this Drake could delay the, around this Baron, could delay the Baron play.
Yeah, and I think that probably just stops the Baron play for the most part for the time being. With no flash on Misfortune, though, that's a big target. The only way that you get away from Camille Hextech Ultimatum is you don't show on her screen. And flash helps you from getting away from that situation. Without the flash on Misfortune, you are going to struggle immensely to get yourself back. Did you see the gold gap right there between Bol and literally everybody else in the game?
Yeah,
he had 2,000 gold on everybody. And
Misfortune
is the biggest threat right now for Renska, or on Renska.
It is insane right now how far ahead he is. That being said, like, we do have very close gold for, or sorry, very close CS for some people. You talked about Trigo, House, and even Envy on the side of INTZ right now are keeping pretty even. So the gap is large, but it is mostly in this gold that can be picked up via skirmishes.
It is exclusively in the top lane, the differential right now. So
Mm-hmm.
if the Camille isn't with the team, the 4 versus 4 or the 4 versus 5, whatever it may be, is going to be fairly even and fairly easy for Renska to take. They should be able to navigate that one without the pressures that the Camille's going to put down. But you can see Bowl on this Camille. This is the focal point. If he can find Trigo, then we're expecting INTZ to be in a good spot, and Envy as well on the side.
What is this? What is this play that's happening right now? Are we trading
Okay,
for
they sacrifice
Clion
Nautilus.
again? This is really good for Renska actually. As much as it sucks that they're losing their support right here, the fact that INTZ give up that dragon is a really rough misexecution.
They're just running. Oh no, Revolver.
It almost gets even worse. There as he eats. Oh no! It was the smite at the end
Red
there
smite.
that killed him. I thought it was the red buff, but no red buff picked up, and that is a very deadly collateral damage.
Oh no! They're using Bowl though still. This might be a Baron trade. If they go in here for Baron, it's going to be interesting. But I like this from Bowl. It means that they actually can't go for the Baron. Chiari forced to go down, and that's my favorite blast cone. They happen very rarely, but it is still my favorite one. They killed the jungler off, which is really important. But they would have loved to turn and burn onto a Baron right there. Unfortunately, Bowl just ends the game, or like gets so much pressure in their base if they go for that. So it's not doable. That fight around the Drake, though, you're quite right that with Renska picking up that dragon, it just delays the soul for even longer. And now we're probably going to be waiting another 15 minutes before we find a soul on either of the squads. I'm predicting a 7 Drake game if we end up getting to a soul point. But the way that INTZ navigated their way around the back of the pit whilst Renska were just hitting the dragon really didn't set themselves up for success too well. Chiari, though, you're just dead.
Yeah, this should be a very
Graves
dead gangplank, because yeah, I don't think Graves is necessarily going to be able to help as Camille flashes forward, picks up one. Frost Strike might be able to clean up this kill, though, as Bull does hug the wall, goes back in, almost for the kill there, and delays it as Envy flashes forward to finish it off, saves his top laner, and might actually spell a lot of trouble here for Renska, as they're going to have to throw somebody into this top lane to answer, leaving Baron unattended.
Oh, stopwatch, baby. Let's go. Really well played from Bowl once again to navigate the 1 versus 2. Flashes off of the smoke screen as well to be able to finish the job onto Chiari and then turn it back around using that sustain. I'm not sure why we're waiting to hit the Baron right now for INTZ. Just start whacking away at it. TP is available for the Camille. If anything goes drastically wrong, you can just help and pull her in. But you have 2 members dead on Renska. Yes, Chiari's got teleport, but Frost Strike is dead. This is just devastation. Hit the Baron. Hit it.
Yeah.
Stop.
This is an odd delay right now, because now we've got 5 members up. INTZ just now having their full damage with Bull here as well. Might be able to burn through this. It is at half HP right now. Graves nowhere to be seen. Should be the smite. And Revolta secures the objective. Kabu not even giving up. And Dredgeline does go wide. Bull now the follow-up target. Dredgeline should be up shortly, but a nice solar flare stops that. And Bull will be able to get away with the rest of INTZ.
Yeah, okay. They get the Baron. They're happy with that.
You sound upset,
it wasn't. I am upset, dear. I am. They could have done it 20 seconds ago, and then when Renska forced their way in, take the fight, because you saw Clion just dashed on in there, tried to use the depth charge as well to try and find a fight. If they do that 10 seconds earlier, GP and Graves are nowhere nearby. Yes, GP will be able to TP, but it's still a 4 versus 5 that you have the numbers advantage on. Bowl is still an incredibly strong force to be reckoned with, and you might actually find Ori here as well. Oh no.
Yeah,
devastation.
The rotation, could have come in from Trigo and Clion, respecting that Bull gets out, and How's respecting Bull flashes, and that's a big cooldown.
That flash does nothing for him either. If Camille wanted to go in there, she would have died. The flash... I mean, sure, okay, you're better safe than sorry from there, and maybe the distance that the flash buys you allows enough time for Trigo and Clion to get towards you and help you out.
I think so.
It doesn't matter. It's okay. They get the flash, and Bowl respectfully backed away. Actually, the Scuttle Crab secured for Renska there definitely helps them out in terms of this Drake, which is spawning in about a minute, but you know what's going on top lane? It's Ball, it's the split push party, and ITZ looking to really exemplify their lead that they have in the top side.
Yeah, Baron alone is going to do quite a bit of pushing, but with Bull potentially looking for a reset here, they could give that up for more power around the Dragon. 36 seconds on that, and there's a lot being committed to this top side from Renska.
And ITZ, meanwhile, committing a lot to the bot side. They get the mid lane tier 1 finally, and they're putting a lot of numbers down on this bot side, yet Ori is still just farming for free. You have Baron and you have an open inhibitor right here. This is fairly trivial in terms of what you can do and how easy it should be for you to execute right here. House has got 4 members here. Has got stopwatch, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
House is going to be in a lot of trouble right now. The sombrero does come out and knock up 2, but the damage is negligible. INTZ get to rotate onto this inhibitor and perhaps even find themselves a mid lane tier 2 as the resources from Renska are split at the moment. Trigo trying to find a way to make something happen. Client instead finds the hook onto Bull, who's got the hook shot to escape. Mikau yeets himself away with the Gale Force and does manage to survive. INTZ walk away with a free inhibitor as well as a kill onto the mid laner. Maybe even a dragon to follow it up. Who knows?
Yeah, Dragon should surely be the play right here. They've got 20 seconds left on the Baron, actually, so they're going to wait to make sure they get full usage out of it. Actually getting at themselves this mid tier 1, looking for Trigo, uses the Gale Force to get away, but they might not greed for the inhibitor here.
Very nice flash from Kavu to avoid being hooked by Klyon there, but Bull goes in a little bit too far. Has to use the Hextech ultimatum to lock in Chiari, and that is a very, very dead Chiari. That's all I have to say about that.
The way Camille just 180s a fight like that, she just picks one target, sends all 4 back, like within melee or out of melee range, and then the GP is just completely isolated. It feels pretty bad for him, but you just can't jump in like that.
Yeah, I mean, just because they got a kill off of it doesn't mean the ult wasn't defensive. Like, Bull was, I don't know, maybe I just...
for sure it was defensive, but if say for example, Hextech ultimatum doesn't push everybody back and you just isolate somebody in an instance, Camille dies there. Like, she's hopped into 4 or 5 people pretty much. She used her passive on the wrong person and still survived, so sure.
The best defense is a good offense, maybe?
Yes.
I think that's a perfect
encapsulation
of what we just saw right there. Is Bull, even though
kill them before they kill you. That's the rule, right?
Look, I wish that people said that on football fields.
Why?
Instead of the best defense is a good offense, don't give me that. I want you to look at an army of 50 armored up men and go kill them before they kill you, and then have a bunch of high school just run at each other like madmen. That's the mental image that I'm getting right now, and it's bringing me a lot of smiles.
We're just playing simplified FPS games right there. Just kill them before they kill you. just click heads. How much simpler? Kill their nexus before they kill yours. It's just too easy.
You know how we get a lot of like people who are from traditional sports who migrate into the esports coaching scene.
Yeah.
I want to see somebody migrate from the esports coaching scene into the traditional sports coaching scene and hear that advice hit the football field.
That one would be mental warfare, because League of Legends is so much mental warfare. He would just be like, okay, all you've got to do is just outthunk your opponents. It's super straightforward. But here goes Klyon. He's trying to outthunk
really
Kabu here.
Funky hook. Kabu manages to find his way around the terrain, and Klyon gets dissuaded by Revolta. The game is happening around you, though, at this moment, because Bull is completely unanswered, even on basically the Nexus right now. Just one turret standing between him and the end of the game, as the rest of INTZ get to play this out as if Bull isn't even on their team and know that they can win the game if RNS respect that. NB throws a lot of damage back at House. That was an entire shockwave. Revolta tries to finish it off, doesn't quite get it, but that should be the reset from House. Bull cleans up another inhibitor.
That was so funny. Ori fires the ulti at Ryze, and Ryze just gets pulled back and goes, "You what, mate?" Fires all of the damage right back, and he's like, "Are you sure you want this fight?" And then immediately House goes, "Yeah, you're quite right. Actually, you've got a big pony behind you. I'm maybe gonna take my leave right now." Hops back and manages to stay alive, but Baron for INTZ here. 2 inhibitors down as well for Renska. They lost a Nexus turret as well. Camille is just so strong. The side lane priority is insane. And with the Baron, they should look to probably close out this game. Drake spawning in 2 minutes. They probably don't even need the Soul to win.
I'm completely uncertain if Rensga are going to be able to kill Bull at some point in this game. He hasn't died just yet, and right
He has
now is
GA as
so
well.
powerful. Yeah, this is it. Like, it seems like an impossible ask. He's playing the game alone. At this point, like, I haven't seen him be within 500 units. You know that stat jungle proximity? I want top proximity for this game.
This is okay. So this is the one game, or not the one game, but this is a game where top proximity should be as low as possible. He's literally playing Camille, and the exception to split push comps with regards to quote top proximity is when you see things like the Rise shadowing, and shadowing is a really useful and effective tool that we've already seen INTZ use once to save Bowl in the side lane. Remember when Rise Worm warped in and killed the Graves? That's the perfect example of shadowing, where you send somebody to the side lane, the enemy team thinks that they're just going to be side laning on their own, and then you just surprise them with an extra member who's able to turn the fight on its head. You can see now, though, that Bowl is going to be down on the bot lane, and you might be thinking, well, why is he going? Oh, well, I'll hold it. It's just over.
Top proximity is going to be closed, but it is going to be for a very worthwhile reason. The end of the game is nigh here as you're losing your jungler. You've already lost your support now, and INTZ, they are unstoppable. Chiari is pickings for the KDA at this point, but a very nice play started by Bull, ended by the Cavalry, are going to walk forth and now end the game as House and Shrigo are left to defend what is a very, very lonely Nexus.
Exactly, and look at Bowl. He just does not care. Okay, well, this is going to be a fun fight.
Yeah, that's going to be several deletions, several squishies, and INTZ have a good time. They have a fun time. They actually walk away with the victory off of a surprisingly clean game.